Hello and welcome to your favorite show, Cricket Happenings, dear friends and subscribers. On this particular cricket show, we'll talk about England, who have won the ODI series, the Gillette Cup won ODI series, and Australia pulled all their stops. They had a full strength squad, but still, it was something that once again eluded them. They lost the match by only 15 runs in the third ODI, but the hero was Butler. I have to say this, that anything that the Australians are putting against England, and England are very equal to the task. In fact, Stephen Smith also did a about turn yesterday after winning the toss. Contrary to what he was doing in the two ODIs, he decided to insert England first. And England, definitely there was a struggle for them. It was not easy for them to bat. The Australians were bowling a good line, and the score at one stage for England read 189 for 6 in the 39th over, and this really showed what batting depth this England team possesses. As Josh Butler went on to make a century, an unbeaten 100 at that, and Chris Woakes once again coming to the party with an unbeaten 53 to take England to a score of 302 for 6. And in the end, the Aussies tried their best. There were sincere contributions coming in from the lower middle order, but in the final bend, it was England who were the victors by 15 runs. And the ODI series now has gone to England. England have already won the ODI Gillette Cup series. So congratulations to them. With two to come, one coming up in Adelaide on Australia Day, and on Perth, the final ODI will be played at the Wacker in Perth. Well, dear fans, so that is a match which I'm going to definitely do a summary, and then also we'll have a look at how Sri Lanka managed to keep their footing in the Tri-Series as they picked up their first points when they beat Zimbabwe today and won the match. So I'll be talking about that game, but so definitely Sri Lanka will be quite relieved that they got their first points and they have kept their hopes alive in the Tri-Series, and that is something very good for Sri Lanka. And also today there will be a different form of cricket being played between Pakistan and Australia in the first T20 match, which will be played at the Basin Reserve in Wellington, and one would see what this clash can do for Pakistan. Well, so let's start off with the match between England and Australia. So as I said, Australian team was full strength, their pace attack was strengthened, Josh Hazlewood back, Pat Cummins back, and they clashed at the Sydney Cricket Ground. There was a holiday crowd assembled. It's a weekend, being the weekend. There was a good holiday crowd assembled over there. Jason Roy and Jonathan Bairstow opened the innings. Jason Roy played some fine strokes, one nice high elbow stroke. Jonathan Bairstow was looking pretty good. One of the strokes that Bairstow played was a real beauty as he smoked a delivery. I thought it was from Josh Hazlewood into the fence through the cover region. Absolutely smoked it. And Jason Roy and Jonathan Bairstow put on a partnership, and one saw that the ball was doing something. It was not it was not so easy. I think certain balls were bouncing, certain balls were rolling in, and one saw that the Aussies were bowling a good line. They were bowling a tight line. In fact, Patrick Cummins started off with a maiden over against Jason Roy, and Jason Roy and Jonathan Bairstow had put on 38 runs for the first wicket when England lost their first wicket, when Patrick Cummins got the wicket of Jason Roy, when Jason Roy was caught by Aaron Finch. So the bowling of Cummins for 19 of 24 deliveries, 4 fours. That was wicket number 1. Alex Hale joined in. Alex Hale could not resist the temptation of going over the top to Stoinis, and at mid-on, Zampa came into action as he took the catch. He was gone for 1. Joe Root joined Jonathan Bairstow in the middle. Jonathan Bairstow was looking good at that stage, but then the third wicket to go was Jonathan Bairstow. Jonathan Bairstow was fooled by a googly from Adam Zampa, and he lost his stumps there. He was gone for 39 of 57 deliveries, 2 fours. Joe Root and Morgan joined Joe Root. Joe Root playing in his usual fashion along with Morgan, and Morgan got some runs under his belt today as things were going on, and then Josh Hazelwood went on to disturb the timber of Joe Root for 27 of 31 deliveries with 1 4, and then Morgan was the next to go when Hazelwood had him caught behind by Payne for 41 of 50 deliveries, 2 fours and 1 6, and then suddenly this England innings was really spinning out of control as the scores read 172 for 5, and finally when Moeen Ali was cleaned up by Mitchell Marsh for 6 of 12 deliveries, the score read 189 for 6 for England, and they were in a very sad, in a very sorry situation at the time, and one was hoping what was going, but nobody would have expected that Josh Butler, who plays a bit of unorthodoxy as far as stroke making is concerned. The other end they had Chris Woakes, but and suddenly what one saw was that Josh Butler and Chris Woakes really stitched together a wonderful partnership, and in the process they first had a good look from 189 for 6. They knew that their batting was very important. Chris Woakes also put his head down. In fact, Chris Woakes was more the aggressor, I would say, and in fact Josh Butler and Woakes decided that there was no need getting along and just staying there at the wicket, but it was good to gather runs, and a bravado approach from Josh Butler and Woakes, especially considering the fact that England have nothing to lose, and we saw that Josh Butler unveiled one of some good strokes, and 2 strokes really stood out, and that was Patrick Cummins being smacked for back-to-back sixes, and he also put Josh Hazelwood into the fence as well. Stoinis went for plenty, and suddenly things were really getting out of control for Australia. Chris Woakes was doing a fine job. He had reached his unbeaten 50, and also Josh Butler had gone on to a century as England from 189 for 6, recovering in a very big manner at 113 runs, unbroken partnership for the 7th wicket, got England to 302 for 6. Butler was not out on 100 of 83 deliveries, 6 fours and 4 sixes. Chris Woakes was not on 53 of 36 deliveries, 5 fours and 2 sixes. 302 for 6 was the final tally for the Englishman. As far as the bowling is concerned, Mitchell Starc 10 overs none for 63, had nothing to offer yesterday. Hazelwood 10 overs 2 for 58. Cummins went for some big hitting from Josh Butler. 10 overs 1 minute 1 for 67. Stoinis 8 overs 143. Adam Zampa cost 55 runs of his 9 overs with 1 wicket. Mitchell Marsh bowled 3 overs 1 for 14. So the Aussies were given a target of 303 runs to win the match, and Aaron Finch and David Warner walked into the middle. And it did not take England long to get their breakthrough, as David Warner was a victim, caught by heels of the bowling of Chris Woakes for 8 of 10 deliveries with 2 fours. So that made the score 24 for 1, and then Cameron White was promoted in the batting order. He was given the 1-drop slot today, but he could muster only 17 runs of 25 deliveries with 3 fours, as Mark Wood got him caught nicking to Butler behind the stumps. He was gone. Stephen Smith and Finch once again playing the lead role for Australia, as he has been doing in the past 2 matches where he got centuries. And Aaron Finch was once again the sort of force who was actually standing at the crease and also getting useful runs for the Aussies. Stephen Smith was at the other end. Stephen Smith was giving good support to Aaron Finch as the score slowly started moving along, as a 69 runs partnership ensued between Aaron Finch and Stephen Smith, and this was going on. Aaron Finch had reached 62 of 53 deliveries with 3 fours and 3 sixes before Rashid trapped Finch LBW. So that made it 113 for 3, and then probably Stephen Smith was not happy with the decision, but again one could say that the this was a decision review. So basically, this decision was coming from the third umpire. Now you can't be disputing that for sure, but Stephen Smith definitely was unhappy with the decision, as Stephen Smith was given caught Butler bowled Wood for 45 of 66 deliveries, 1-4, which made the score 181 for 4. Mitchell Marsh, and then suddenly from 181 for 4, there was definitely hope with a lot of batting to come. And Mitchell Marsh and Stoinis played a good hand. In fact, Mitchell Marsh went on to make 55 of 66 deliveries with 4 fours. Stoinis contributing 56. Stoinis was there till the end. And then finally the match came down to the wire with after Mitchell Marsh was dismissed in the 39th over to the bowling of Rashid. Stoinis got good company from Tim Paine. Tim Paine was the one who was giving more of the strike to Marcus Stoinis, and from 210 for 5, there was still a long way to go, but a very entertaining partnership that happened in 74 overs in 74 runs in 11 overs from Marcus Stoinis and Tim Paine. And then Chris Woakes was the one who disturbed this partnership when he got the wicket of Stoinis. But again, it was the final over, and it was 21 runs required of the final over. There was still hope with Stoinis and Paine in the crease, but in the third ball, Stoinis was a goner, caught by Billings with the bowling of Woakes for 56 of 43 deliveries, 3 fours and 2 sixes, and then that was all over. Then it was definitely, it was England were the victors. England had won the Gillette Cup ODI series now with 2 more to go, as I said. Paine was not out on 31 of 35 deliveries, 1-4. Cummins was not out on 1. 286 for 6 was what Australia stood at. As far as the bowling was concerned, Mark Wood 10 overs 102 for 46, bowled a good line today. Woakes was also impressive, 10 overs 2 for 57. Liam Plunkett, in fact, England were definitely hit hard with Liam Plunkett going out of bowling action after bowling only 1.2 overs. That was a big blow. But despite that, even though Liam Plunkett was gone, Morgan had to summon the services of the offie Joe Root, who bowled 8.4 overs, no maiden, none for 60. So Plunkett was not there, so that really helped matters for Australia, one reckons. Moeen Ali, 10 overs, none for 57, and Adil Rashid, 10 overs, 2 for 51. The man of the match, no doubt it was Jos Butler of England. So England having won the Gillette Cup ODI series. Now, the next match that I'm going to look at is the fourth match, which was a very interesting match, a must-win match for Sri Lanka to actually keep their hopes alive in the tri-series here in Bangladesh. And let's see what happened there. Well, it was a match between Sri Lanka versus Zimbabwe, and it was Zimbabwe who were actually batting first after electing to bat after winning the toss. Well, today the Zimbabwean openers Masakadza and Solomon Meyer they gave a decent partnership. They had put 44 for the first wicket when the first wicket fell. When the wicket to fall was Hamilton Masakadza was the victim of the bowling of Tisra Pereira, who did a very good job with the ball. In fact, he picked up 4 wickets. He was the one who got the top 4 Zimbabwe batsmen today. Hamilton Masakadza was out for 20 of 30 deliveries, 3 fours. Solomon Meyer also falling a victim to Pereira, out for 21 of 40 deliveries, 2 fours. And Craig Irvine, once again not having a good series at all, fell a victim to Pereira for 2 of 5 deliveries. Brendan Taylor playing a good hand of 58 of 80 deliveries with 6 fours. Sikandar Raza for once could not get going, and as you know, Zimbabwe had included Sandakan in the mix, and Sandakan was the one who dismissed Sikandar Raza for 9 of 12 deliveries, 2 fours. Malcolm Waller, after making 24 of 35, fell a victim to Sandakan as well, caught behind. Peter Moore was run out for naught, and then it was only thanks to Creamer that Zimbabwe managed to reach 198, as they were bowled out for 198 in the 44th over. It was Creamer who contributed 34 of 42 balls. It was good handiwork from Nuwan Pradeep, who displayed some good reverse swing bowling in the end stages of the Zimbabwean innings. as he picked up the wicket of Creamer. Clean bowled by Pradeep, and Jarvis was also bowled by Pradeep for 5. Muzarbani also lost his stumps to Pradeep for naught. Chatara was not out on 2, and the Zimbabweans were bowled out for 198. As far as the bowling was concerned, Lakmal for a change really bowled a very decent line. 7 overs, no made and none for 23. Fernando amongst the wickets as well. 8 overs, 2 minutes, 28 runs and 3 wickets. But it was Thisara Pereira once again. I think he's in some great form for the first time that you're seeing that both his batting and bowling are coming together for Sri Lanka, and that's really good news for Sri Lanka. 8 overs, no made and 4 for 33 for Thisara Pereira. Dhananjaya 10 overs, none for 45. Sandakan 10 overs, 2 for 57. Gunaratne 1 over, which cost 4 runs. So Sri Lankans were given a target of 199. Definitely a target, definitely achievable for Sri Lanka, but definitely there was a bit of pressure on Sri Lanka as it was a must-win game for them. So it all started off with the first victim being Upul Taranga. Upul Taranga losing his stumps to Chatara for 17 of 34 deliveries with 2 fours, which made it 33 for 1 in the 10th over. Kushal Pereira was joined in by Mendes. Kushal Mendes was really trying to milk the bowling and get some runs. At the other end, Kushal Pereira played a few good strokes, but they were also conscious about it. They knew the score was a small score to chase. There was no point in Kushal Pereira really going for the strokes right, left and centre. So he realized that and really played in the right manner as the partnership from 33 reached 103. It was a 70-run partnership that happened between Kushal Pereira and Kushal Mendes, as Muzrabani, Blessing Muzrabani, the tall, fast bowler, was amongst the wickets today. For the first time, we saw Blessing Muzrabani come into his own, as first he picked up the wicket of Kushal Pereira, caught by Murray. In fact, he did a triple strike at that stage to put Sri Lanka under immense pressure, as he dismissed Pereira for 49. He clean bowled Kushal Mendes for 36 with 44 with 4 boundaries, and sent that exciting Niroshan Dikwala into the pavilion, caught by the substitute Ryan Murray, the keeper, for 7 of 17 balls to leave Sri Lanka in a bit of real bother there at 117 for 4. After that, the only person who was staying, that Dinesh Chandimal, the captain, was at the crease, and he was joined in by Gunaratne. But Gunaratne could not do much as the score reached 145 the 35th over. Gunaratne was consumed by the bowling of Jarvis for 9. Jarvis bowled a wonderful line today. He was gone of 9 of 21 balls, and Gunaratne continued to struggle in the ODI series. Chandimal was still there. He was joined in by the hero of this ODI series for Sri Lanka, none other than Thisara Pereira. And Thisara Pereira played only in the way that he could, as he has been playing in this ODI series, and that is to smack the deliveries. And at the other end, Dinesh Chandimal was just rotating the strike, and finally they took the Sri Lankan team home in the 45th over by 5 wickets. Chandimal was now on 38 of 71 deliveries with 2 fours. Thisara Pereira finished off the match with a wonderful 6 of the bowling of Tendai Chatara, as he was not out on 39 of 26 deliveries, 1 4 and 3 sixes to Thisara Pereira, 202 for 5. And finally, Sri Lanka managing to get their first points in the tri-series here in Bangladesh. Bowling, Jarvis, I thought, bowled a very good line today. 9 overs, 1 for 34 for Kyle Jarvis. Chatara also doing a good job. 9.5 overs, 1 for 40. Blessing Muzrabani for the first time amongst the wicket. 10 overs, no made in 52 runs and 3 wickets. Sikandar Raza, 7 overs for 44 was costly. And Creamer bowled a very impressive spell of bowling from Graham Creamer. 9 overs, no made and none for 29. And the man of the match, for sure, it went to the man of the match going to Thisara Pereira for sure for his all-round exploits. And what a ODI series Thisara Pereira has been having. He has been having a real ball in this tri-series. But before I go, let me tell you, not going to do a preview as I'm short of time here. All that I could tell is that the first T20 is coming up, a day-night fixture, which is going to happen between Pakistan and New Zealand. It is happening at the Basin Reserve in Wellington. So there is a different kind of battle which is coming up, and I'm sure New Zealand are waiting to have a go at Pakistan once again at the T20s. And really, as I said, I'm a bit short of time, so it's about time for me to pull the curtain down on this daily cricket show by bidding you all a very goodbye.